Hello, this is a video response to a guy on YouTube called Above the Table. Now, this one was shared in a Discord I'm in where we talk a lot role playing, and our friends they were very concerned with what he had to say. So I thought, okay, let's give it a look, let's give it a listen. I listened to it, and I had immediately a strong response, negatively, of course. Well, I say of course, but you don't know me. So let's say negatively. Basically, I disagree with you above the table, and I want to talk to you about why. Now, this is a critique. You can take it, and you can also decide that you don't think it's adequate. But then I want to hear why after I talk about my points. You don't have to take it, but in the end, I believe we have the same goals, right? So that's why I make the response. So here we go. We want to enjoy the same hobby, role-playing games. We want our players to have agency over their characters. I have to trust that you believe this to be true. So I'm gonna take that assumption. From the way you talked about the video, you enjoy stuff like describing the weight of a sword, or a scent inside of a room, or how the moonshine dances on the cobblestone like reflections. All of those things I enjoy as well. And then you describe the thing I completely disagree with, which is a game master is trusted with describing the world, playing the world, right? Playing the people, playing out the consequences. You have control over all of these areas in the game. So why not? That was the question. Why not control how the player characters feel about it? And here's why, right? The reason you don't control what the player characters feel is because it's a player character. Pretty simple, right? So you address this. But of course, I imagine you say above the table, but of course, which is why you only do it sometimes, right? There needs to be a balance. You control how they feel sometimes. So to help the players cue in that they should feel certain things. No, that's also wrong. That's also wrong. You don't do it sometimes, you do it never. Absolutely never. Now you might say, but why? You have to help the players feel how their character would feel, right? Like, you don't have to. You control the whole world. You control all the non-player characters. You control all the factions. You control the world events. You control the consequences of what the players are doing. You have enough power above the table. Now that's the problem. The problem is power. Now, you might disagree. And I can believe you. I believe a lot of game masters are bleeding hearts. They have good intentions. And like you, decide to do the completely wrong thing and then espouse it on YouTube to people that think, you know what, I think I should take control away from the players more often. Now, why I disagree is philosophical, you see. You think if you do it for them, you help them do it themselves. I say, no. What you should do instead is describe how other non-player characters feel. They should have emotion. They should go through those feelings. And you can play like a good 10 different non-player characters in a session, if they are around, especially including monsters. You can introduce emotions to monsters as well. It can happen to like, I don't know, 20 different characters, but most of those emotions are pretty flat. But you actually do the thing that you want the players to do, right? That you say you want to do. You want to help. I'm saying those words because that's what I picked up from your video. You want to help the players to get more into their character of how they should feel, to make the world feel more alive, is the impression I've gotten. You lead by example with all of your characters, the 10, 20, 30 non-player characters and monsters that you get to control. Now the player has one character. That's all he has to concern about, right? Now, you say some players don't have the emotional vocabulary. Okay, yeah, some players, we are not all as quick-witted. I'm pretty dumb, you know. I don't think too much. You know, it is what it is. You know, I live with it. But some players, they have the luxury to think deep. But emotions, they come not from our intellectual side. They spring up, right? They spring up. So instead, what I recommend you do, and I'm sorry, I'm switching arms because the phone is heavy and I'm recording outside. The thing you can do is help the players be immersed in the world by reducing out of character talk, by reducing how often you talk about rules, by curtailing talking about memes and chit chat and all of those little things, because you want to focus on the scene. So describe the scene. Let the players describe what they do. They go around the table. The player describes where they are, what they say, and what they do. It's pretty simple. Sometimes they don't have to describe where they are every time. And you let them feel the scene. This is a problem of table culture. So if you want the players to get more invested and figure out how their character should feel and feel comfortable expressing those feelings at the table, then you have to take the game a bit more serious, which means you cut out the chaff. You cut out the chaff from the wheat. That's what you have to do to achieve that. If you don't, what happens is you try to describe a scene and you want to tell the player a letter is handed to you and the player decides, right? It's a player character. I open up the letter and you describe. Its contents is of your mother. She is passing away, and a heartfelt thanks for having birthed you. And then maybe you describe like a quest, a plot hook, some unfinished business that he has to take. And instead of prompting the players how he feels, like you decide, in your example, right? I will take your example because I want to make it personal. The stone falls into your stomach. It feels like a bottomless pit. Don't do that. Let silence reign the room. And if the other players, if they have agreed, okay, let's keep chatter to a minimum. Let's try to be more in the scene, which is what I've described before. They will respect the player's turn. It's up to them to describe how they feel. If you don't enforce that culture, what happens is a player will make a dry joke and get a few chuckles out at the table, and now the moment is ruined. Or the moment is at least, he might cover it up. He makes a joke because it's a dire moment, and the player might feel some emotions like, oh yeah, this is pretty heavy for my character, and he might recover the scene. and crumple up the letter like in his hand, a steel gaze in his eyes as he holds back tears. And that's a great scene. Now, I believe we are not, the differences are small, but my reaction to your video is strong, because I believe this is a key difference in our approach. Now, I would love to see how you run your game, and see if my suspicions are confirmed, or if you surprise me and show me a way of play that's actually better and an improvement to how I run my table. Now, it's not a competition, but if you spend years on a hobby, and I know you're passionate because you made a YouTube channel and you post videos about it. So I have to assume that you're passionate about this as I am. And if you want to learn something, you can also watch my videos. Now, I've seen I'm a smaller channel, but size isn't everything. It's about the content that you put out. Which is why I'm annoyed to see you espouse those things that I heavily disagree with. So what's the point here? The point here is player agency is sacrosanct for that exact reason. You, as a game master, have all of the control already. Do not take away the control of the player character. You want to have the scenes have more meaning? You clear out the clutter from the table, allow the players room to breathe and to act. So stop with the nonsense of moving to the next scene all the time, telling them how they feel, how they think, how they react. Let the players react themselves. I've seen too many tables where the power is abused, and many of those tables are game masters that do not trust their players, they do not believe in their players, and they do not give them room to develop. Now, you might think that's not possible for your table, because your table is different than any other table in the world. In which case I'm gonna say, no, they're pretty much the same. The difference is the culture you establish. Now, if you have no rules at a table, and it's just, let's play D&D together, the culture is pretty low. You have to build it up, or you have to set expectations, which is why I do vetting for my players. I do training sessions, they are free. When I have time, I will take them. I post my games on Discords that I trust the players have a similar mindset to me, so I don't have to regurgitate all of my points all the time. But I also post my videos online so that new players can watch them, get an idea of how I play the games. They can also watch the games and see, hey, are the other players having fun? Does this sound like a thing I would have fun with? But you still have to vet the players, because if one of the players at the table decides, hey, I'm just human fighter level 3, man. I just want to roll dice and attack the enemy. I don't care too much about the Romeo and Juliet drama, about human emotions. I'm here for the hack and slash experience. That's fine. But then, well, the vetting the players works with the players too, right? He already decides when I made my post to look into how to run games and realizes that's not for him. So that problem is already solved before it becomes a problem at your table. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else I would add to your topic? This is not a problem of balance. The problem is philosophical. You have a whole world, take advantage of the whole world. Describe the whole world. But let the players describe their characters. If they don't have that emotional range, vocabulary, how you described it, if they They never had the scene like that. Let them feel it out, because that's the interesting part. Oh wow, I get to... The thing that I join a role-playing table for, I get to experience what I usually cannot, because it can be pretty dire, or it's pretty gory, or it's like overwhelming. You just try to describe them as you go along. And, you know, and if the player is having too much of a problem with that, we talked about consent for a short bit in your video. If the player is like, I don't want to feel those emotions because they're too overwhelming. You realize, okay, this is a thing, and this is a problem I'm having. Then, I mean, why are you at the roleplay table? But also, don't try to force scenes out of the game because you're uncomfortable with them. You can approach the scene, but if you say like, oh, okay, this actually hits a bit too close to home, which I can fully understand, then you use shorthands. The shorthand in this case would be, my character feels strong emotions and is going to deflect every time somebody mentions it. It's gonna deflect about it and throw the letter away, crumple it up and throw it away. The shorthands help. You describe it instead of role playing it out of how you feel. Going through the emotions, you use the shorthand of describing the emotions you're feeling and keeping it concise. And move the scene forward. Now this works if the players are paying attention and are present at the table, which is a topic I just talked about a few days ago. It's a video on YouTube. Being present at your role-playing table, at your role-playing game. I would suggest, if you watch this far, check that one out. If you are not present at the table, you miss those moments. You don't just miss those moments, you miss that the players might feel very strongly and doesn't want to move in that direction with the scene. And that's when you have those scenes where a player says like, I don't know this, I don't want to play anymore and stuff like that. That's when those situations happen, and when those happen, then you just have to like go back to step one, talk with each other, like, well, what kind of game did you want to play, if not a role-playing game? And most often, that's the moment you discover, oh, this guy, he's a wargamer. He wants to play a tabletop adventure game. This guy likes the dungeon delving. This guy likes the puzzle solving. The other guy, he likes the ways mechanics work with the system to create strong characters. And some people like me, they like to roleplay. They like to be immersed in the world and feel the world and have control over the character of how to feel, how to think, and bring that up on the table. And every time when you have players on the table that are not on the same page, it's gonna feel like a disappointment. Like, oh man, I wasted my time again. Anyways, that's it. If you have anything to say to that, or feel free to leave some feedback. I hope you're not taking this personal. I had strong negative reactions, but I don't want to. It's not meant as a personal attack, right? If you want to talk, feel free to contact me, leave a comment. We can do that. Right now I'm on holiday, which is why I'm out here. Gonna show you. I'm in my homeland in Switzerland right now, and it's a beautiful morning. I cannot sleep, and I'm here to attend a wedding. So it's gonna be a beautiful moment, hopefully. gonna be gone for a few days. And next week I will be around again, like in 4 or 5 days. I'm on the computer and I can do more videos and responses properly instead of being outside. Alright. Enjoy the scene, guys.